D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 102.5. The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes here with you. David and I are in the Game Nashville studios, the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Derek Mason is live in New York City, where he's visiting family ahead of Thanksgiving. And Willie Donick, of course, is in Detroit, Michigan, where the Nashville Predators will take on the Red Wings tonight. Puck drop at 6, pregame at 5, right here on 102.5 The Game. We all hope you are having a wonderful Thanksgiving Eve.
Hey,
And
you can't see my background?
let me take a look. Hold on.
You said I'm in New York City, but that's not actually the case.
You're not. You're in
No,
outer
can't you see my
space.
background? Yes, absolutely.
D-Mace, I didn't know you could go to space.
Derek, I
Absolutely.
always knew you were out of this world, but now I just have proof. I have proof of that. And Derek, I just want you to know this.
Uh-huh.
Before the show, I was talking to young Connor Newt, and I
Okay.
said that Willie is in Detroit, Michigan. And Connor
Mhm.
said, "Oh, the big D." And I said, "You better not say that around Derek Mason. Detroit is not the big D. It's just the D.
Exactly. There's no big D. When
Don't you
say
dare call
if
Detroit the big D."
if you try to describe Detroit as the big D, then yeah, no, you've never been to Detroit in your life. It's
Mm-mm-mm.
just it's the D, man. It's not the big D. I mean, who says that?
Connor is lucky that you're not here, but you may have to give
Exactly.
him a receipt when you get back for having the audacity to refer to Detroit as the big D. And of course, Willie is in the D. It's probably cold in the D because it is
Thank you for
Detroit.
clarifying that, by
Yes.
the way.
Hold on.
I
Don't
don't
you
make that
know?
mistake. I just don't want to make that mistake on the air. That's a great tip. Just a reminder.
Don't you know there was a song you just said?
So cold in the D.
So
I
cold.
am
Yeah,
aware of
there's a
that. Yes.
song that is called "It's So Cold in the D."
And you know what, Derek? I know a lot of Michiganders. You, of course, being a
Uh-huh.
Michigander, my wife, a proud Michigander as well. So
Mhm.
I know full well that it can get cold in the D, not in big D. But we have an abbreviated show for you today because of the Predators game. By the way, Wes in Hermitage says D-May sponsored today by Green Trees, LOL, because he is
I
indeed in
like it.
outer space. We have an abbreviated show for you today up until 5 o'clock. Since we do not have shows on Thursday and Friday, we will take it to the bank at 3:40. Chad Withrow from Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow will join us at 4 o'clock. Silly underdog picks at 4:20. We will have a people's pick as well, so you can join in on the fun at 615-737-1025. But let's start today's show with our weekly segment called What Should We Complain About? The CFP rankings this week. The CFP rankings are out once again. Vanderbilt holds firm at number 14. And it appears that it's not only going to take a win at Tennessee this weekend for Vanderbilt to get into the college football playoff. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Georgia, and Texas Tech remained the top 5 teams in the CFP rankings. Oregon jumped ahead of Ole Miss at number 6, Ole Miss down to number 7, the only change to the top 10 from a week ago. But Vanderbilt, despite winning with style 45-17 against Kentucky last week, still stays at number 14. So, Derek, we knew that it was going to
Mhm.
probably take a win at Tennessee and more to help Vanderbilt. But let's start the week how we did last Wednesday. What should we complain about this week when it comes to the CFP rankings?
I mean, everything. It's especially when it comes to what they are doing with Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt neither moved up nor did they move down. They stayed put. But teams like Michigan and other teams were able to move up in the rankings, and I just think that's completely unfair. We talked about this, when the college football initial ranking came out, and I said if Vanderbilt is on the cusp and then they're good. But if they're outside of that, you know, 13, 14, then they're gonna have a hard time in making a college football playoff. And it has come true. They've been outside of the bubble, even though they deserve to be in it. They've been outside the bubble, and no matter what they do, unless 3 or 4 teams lose, they're telling Vanderbilt, you had a great season, but it's not college football playoff worthy. And I just think that's completely unfair, judging by their schedule and the teams they beat, even the teams they lost to. Again, we talked about Texas and how Texas losses were counted as gains for them. But then on the flip side, the committee comes out and says, well, Vanderbilt's losses, they count, double against them. And I just think that's completely unfair. They keep going back and forth depending on what team they're talking about.
Willie, your thoughts on Vanderbilt's standings in the CFP rankings, staying at number 14 despite a big win against Kentucky over the weekend?
Well, I'm going to be controlled because
we don't want control. No restraints.
You have to win the game on
Saturday
before you can be upset. They have to win that game on Saturday for this to be any relevance at all. But I'm going to just read you the quote from Mitch Light on Twitter that tells you the brand bias against Vanderbilt. And it's the politics going on, and me being the SEC snob, it's coming out, but I will even say it's a SEC snob / trying to stick up for Vanderbilt. If it were Auburn, Georgia, Alabama, I just don't think this would happen. In the last 2 weeks, Miami has moved up from 18 to 15 after beating teams ranked 109 and 66 in the SP Plus by scores of 17 and 34. Vanderbilt stayed at 14 after beating a team ranked 57th in SP Plus by 28. So there's just why are they elevating Miami at this point for what they've done? It doesn't make any sense. But it still was going to take help regardless. So it's just an annoyance at this point. I'm saving my big artillery for what happens if Vanderbilt wins and they don't get in, because I just right now they need some help. They need Auburn to win. There's a couple other teams they need to pull upsets, and hopefully it work itself out. But got to win against Tennessee for it to be even relevant.
Is it bad, Derek, that I do want part of me? Look, ultimately, I want Vanderbilt to win, and I want Vanderbilt to make the college football playoff. But is it bad that part of me wants Vanderbilt to win and not make the college football playoff just to hear uncontrolled Willie Donick?
We all want uncontrolled Willie Donick.
It doesn't happen often. So part of me wants it to happen just so that I can see it.
We don't need Coach Willie. We need, unfiltered Willie to come out. But and listen, we talked about this last week, and Willie got a little bit outside his box last week, but he came back in and remained somewhat tempered after that. But I think Vanderbilt fans right now, as much as they want to say how unjust this is, because it really is, they know they can't say anything until the UT game is over. Because until then, even though the picture looks like even if they win, they're not going to make it, the hoopla being stirred up before the game, I think it causes a lot of distraction, especially if the players start to get into this. And Coach Karkley is going to do his best to keep his players focused. But if they don't win this game, I mean, all of the fussing we've been doing prior to this week or prior to the game, it's going to mean nothing. So I think that's where a lot of Vandy fans are. They're upset, but they're measured right now because they're saving it all. Like Willie said, I'll wait till after the game. And if they win, then I will sort of, give my 2 cents. But I think even if they win, they're setting it up for Vandy not to make it.
Our friend Joe Rexroad said on X last night, and Willie, tell me if you agree. Rexroad wrote, quote, Vanderbilt staying at 14 means nothing. If Vanderbilt beats Tennessee on the road, it will pass Utah, but neither gets in without help. Vandy needs a win and one of the following: Auburn over Bama, LSU over Oklahoma, Mississippi State over Ole Miss.
I think that's a pretty good picture. I hope it's just one of the three and not more. But I want to build on D. Mace's point, I think it's a good one. I think the focus a lot of the Vanderbilt program, the Vanderbilt fans, is this opportunity to beat Tennessee in a big game. That would be an enormous feather in the cap. I think the weight of a win like that going forward, the memories of that might be right up there with getting into the playoffs. It's an interesting thing because what was the quote yesterday? You said you want to make your rivals miserable. The quote that you had from the Athletic, Will Leach, I think it was.
Yes.
It's a good. I think that is a huge focus. So I think I think everybody is saving some of the venom for if it crosses that, but it's all about trying to get a win over your arch rival when both teams are good. It's rare that both teams are good when they play each other like this. And it's happened a couple of times when James Franklin was the coach. Derek Mason had a couple of good wins against Tennessee that knocked Tennessee out of a bowl game, but or down in the rankings. So this is something that doesn't come around very often. It's one of the more anticipated Vanderbilt Tennessee games. So that's the focus.
I read in the Tennessean an article by Aria Gerson, and I believe she said, and correct me if I'm wrong, Willie, this is just the 5th time that the two schools have met while both were ranked in the AP poll. And this rivalry has been happening since the 1890s. So it's rare that Vanderbilt and Tennessee go head to head when both are ranked. Usually Tennessee is ranked historically, Vanderbilt is not. Caleb on our text line, by the way, the headline from that article you were referencing by Will Leach, college football playoff bids are great. Making your rival miserable is still better, which I totally agree with. Caleb on our text line says, other teams have dealt with brand bias for years, man. Whether it's rankings or refs, calls during a game, it's always happened. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club of brand bias, Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Yes, it's been there, but I think because the field has gotten larger as far as teams that could potentially make the college football playoffs. Before it was 2 teams, and whether they had brand bias or not, majority of the time we knew who those 2 teams are. But now that they've opened the field, brand bias, I think, has come into play. Each and every year they've had the playoffs. I mean, you look at a team like Florida State last year. Their brand was hurt. Why? Because they lost their quarterback. So they didn't think it would be a good game. So they didn't get in. So I think brand bias is a part of the game. I think everybody understands it and realizes it, but they try to sort of mask it in a different way. And they make up all these rules and things, and they keep on switching them each and every week on the criteria of being a college football playoff team. So one of them, I think that has to be at the top of the list is, how many eyes does this team draw to the television? And if it don't draw many, then like Vandy, you're going to be in a position where even if you have a great season, you may not make it.
Willie, David Ubben of The Athletic did an interesting exercise. His editor gave him 7 bubble candidates. It was a blind resume. His editor gave him 7 bubble candidates for the final 3 at-large spots and asked Ubben to make the case for the 3 that he would choose. Vanderbilt was included in this sample. He did not choose Vanderbilt. He chose Alabama, Oklahoma, and BYU. He left out Utah, Miami, Notre Dame, and Vanderbilt. But one of the things that stands out to me, Willie, looking at Vanderbilt's resume versus the other teams in this sample that David Ubben utilized, is Vanderbilt is the only team in this mix that does not have a win against a CFP top 25 team. Vanderbilt is 0-2 against CFP top 25 teams, presumably Alabama and Texas. The other records 1-2, 3-2, 1-1, 2-2, 2-1, and 3-1. So if you're looking for a blind spot, so to speak, on Vanderbilt's resume, it's that they have an 0-2 record against teams currently in the top 25 of the CFP.
Right. There's nuance to it, though. It's the SEC. They beat 3 teams that were ranked, and not just like 23rd or 24th. They beat number 11, number 10 and number 15, I believe, at the time. So that should be mentioned in there, right? I understand that those teams have fallen off, but it is worth something. I think both should be considered. I do think where they are now is most relevant, and those wins have lost weight. But at the time they were ranked, that should count for something in a secondary role.
Dave on our text line says Vanderbilt is going to get screwed regardless if they win against the Vols. But what they are doing is setting a foundation for next year's rankings to hopefully get a chance next year. Derek, your thoughts on that?
I think if they do find themselves having a repeat, season next year, then I think the odds it sort of be like Indiana was last year. Not too many people are questioning Indiana this year. They question Indiana a lot, and I know some of it had to do with their schedule, but they questioned Indiana big time last year. Indiana comes back, Coach Signetti, they come back and they have another great season. So nobody's questioning that any longer. Vandy, if they put together another good season, I don't think anybody, especially in the SEC, and I'm sure their season will be a little bit tougher next year, but I don't think anyone will question, whether Vandy deserves to be in there or not, if indeed they do it again next year.
We will get more into this matchup at the top of the 4 o'clock hour with Chad Withrow, noted Vols fan. But before we go to break, Willie, I want your I want to put Coach Willie to the side. I want to lock Coach Willie in a box for just a minute, okay? You bleed black and gold. You are easy for me to say, Vanderbilt fan representative. I want to know how you are feeling because we're not going to talk to you. Well, we will. We will talk to you, but the listeners will not hear from you until after the game over the weekend. So how are you feeling about it? Not Coach Willie. I'm talking about Vanderbilt fan, proud alum Willie Donick. How are you feeling about this game a few days out?
I'm feeling very cautiously excited. I'm really excited to see Vanderbilt put it out there where they're not sneaking up on Tennessee. Tennessee is going to have the hornet's nest. They'll be ready to play. They've been looking forward to this game all year. Vanderbilt has had their attention from the start. And I'm excited to see you put your best out there and see if it's good enough to win at Neyland Stadium. When they won at Neyland Stadium the last time, you referenced it, I think it was 2017.
Correct.
It was not a good Tennessee team at all, and it wasn't even a really good Vanderbilt team. That team fell short of making a bowl game under Derek Mason, and they won easily. But it's not the same. I think the significant win that Vanderbilt had at Tennessee when James Franklin was the coach, the Pat Robinette jump pass, that was a really big win. This one would be bigger than that, though.
615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on the upcoming matchup. Vanderbilt at Tennessee coming up this weekend, a 2:30 kickoff on Saturday at Neyland Stadium. Tennessee at the moment favored by 3.5. 615-737-1025. We will get back into this matchup at 4 o'clock with our favorite Vol, Chad Withrow. 615-737-1025. But coming up next, the Tennessee Titans are back in action on Sunday against the Jacksonville Jaguars. How can Cam Ward build off his best performance of his rookie season? 615-737-1025. A couple of notes. Speaking of the Vanderbilt game, the Commodores will take on the Vols this Saturday. Pregame begins at 1 on 102.5 and 94.9 The Fan with the kickoff at 2:30. Vanderbilt football is brought to you by Gary Force Acura, Jimmy Kelly Steakhouse, and Smoky Mountain Tops. Also, you can come out and root on Vanderbilt football this Saturday with 102.5 The Game at Germantown Pub, located at 708 Monroe Street in Nashville, starting at 2. Win great prizes and cheer for Vanderbilt as they take on the Tennessee Volunteers this Saturday at Germantown Pub.
I think all you can hope for if you are a team in the Titans situation and a quarterback in Cam Ward situation, am I leaving your rookie year saying, I can't wait to see what this guy looks like in better circumstances? If that is your overarching thought about a team in the Titans spot, I think that's like the best thing you could ask for. And that's precisely where I am with Cam Ward. Who knows? Maybe if they get the right offensive coach in there, it doesn't work out the way that we want it to. Maybe they don't get the right offensive coach in there and we never get to see that experiment through. But as I sit here right now, I am wondering who can be Ben Johnson for Cam Ward next year. Like, is there somebody out there who can do this? Because I really, really want to see him with that honest shot to make good on whatever he has.
That was the Athletic Football Show talking Cam Ward, who, by all accounts, had his best performance of his young career last Sunday against the Seattle Seahawks. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, and Adam Vingan here with you. We are presented by Bax Homeworks, remodeling done right. Get a free estimate now at baxhomeworks.com. What was great about last week's performance, guys, was whether you are a watch the game nerds kind of person, or if you are a nerd who likes to look at all the numbers like I do. Willie likes to do that too. I think everybody on both sides of that aisle can agree that last week was Cam Ward's top performance. He completed 2/3 of his passes, had a rating of 91, had his highest QBR of the season, ran for a touchdown, had his first positive expected points added performance of his career. So a lot to like about Cam Ward's performance against the Seahawks. The question is, Willie, how can Cam Ward build off of that performance? What will you be looking for from Ward when the Titans host the Jaguars on Sunday?
I think I would like to see him continue to do the same things he's done well, and I would like to see his team stay in it so that they're not playing catch up. I think that was, you have to say that the Seahawks were playing the scoreboard some, right? So some of the stats are time and score, and maybe in a better position to put up numbers than in a closer game. Not to nitpick, and because we've seen some games where they get blown out, and when they get behind and have to pass, the avalanche comes in and they can't protect him. So they're doing a better job of being able to at least move the ball and score some points when they're behind. I'd like to see him do it in a closer game.
Derek, same question. How can Cam Ward build off of his best performance of the season last week, this week against the Jags?
I think you got to continue to do what he has been doing. Read the field the way he's supposed to read it. And if it's not there, make a play. I think he's going to I think nowadays quarterbacks, especially young quarterbacks, they feel they need to stay in the pocket and they got to throw the ball from the pocket instead of just saying, hey, listen, I'm still developing as a player. I'm still growing as a player, but let me, as I'm growing, just be a football player and go out there and play and make plays. You saw a little bit of that from Cam last week where it was just, okay, I'm just going to make a play. Nobody's open. It's glue coverage down the field. I'm going to make a play. And he did it several times. One was for, rushing for his first NFL touchdown, I believe. So I want to see him start doing more of that. I think the coaching staff will take care of the rest, seeing what he does well, continue to do those things, build on those things from multiple stats and personnel. But I just want to see Cam continue to not only grow as a quarterback, and I think he will, but just as a football player, because it's, just because they draw it up that way doesn't mean it's going to go that way. I was taught that a long time ago. And eventually you just got to go out there and play. And too many times, prior to last week and the week before that, Cam was sitting in the pocket, hoping and praying and trying to wait on something to happen instead of just making a play himself. In the last 2 weeks, that's what he's done. He's just made a play himself. And I think the more he does that, the more he'll grow as a quarterback.
Willie, I read something on paulkaharski.com and I thought of you because I thought you would really like this. Paul Kaharski wrote, quote, After 5 games of no first downs for the Titans offense out of quarterback runs, they got 2 in their Week 11 loss to Houston and 4 in their Week 12 loss to Seattle. Against the Seahawks, Ward's first downs by land accounted for 22% of Tennessee's first downs, and they only got 1 more by rush. We have all been pleading for Cam Ward to use his legs more, and it appears in the past few weeks simply by looking at the number of rush attempts, but even that, getting first downs with your legs, that is a positive improvement, a positive sign for Cam Ward in recent weeks.
That is a really important stat. And I think back, Ryan Tannehill was extremely effective in that particular stat, meaningful runs that move the chains. It's one thing to run around and get a few yards. Let's say it's third and 8 and you run for 5. That's not, I mean, that's 5 yards per carry per se, but it's not an effective run. So that's a key stat by Paul there. Steve McNair was fantastic at it. Vince Young in his day was good at it. I don't think Cam Ward will ever be in that category, a Tannehill, a McNair. But I think if he can continue to build a little bit here, he's showing that he's capable of it. And for a while, I really was wondering if he was able to do that, even if he wanted to. But I think that's a big step forward.
And what's the old saying, guys? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And that's what I think Cam Ward's rookie season has been all about. Because if you just look at the numbers, you look at the box score, you look at the fancy stats, Cam Ward statistically, arguably, the worst quarterback in the NFL. But as I was listening to the Athletic Football Show, we played the clip coming back from break. The host's point was he's making these dynamic, creative throws that to them indicate that Cam Ward is a wildly talented player who is being saddled by a bad team, not the other way around. And I think games like last week, Derek, help prove that point that Cam Ward, because look, we've taken calls, we've taken texts that Cam Ward is already a bust, although he's only played 11 games in his NFL career. But I think last week, as I said earlier, was the perfect marriage of the tape grinders and the statistical analysts marrying those two things and showing us that even with Cam Ward having a bad team around him, he's trying to make chicken bleep out of chicken salad. Or chicken salad out of chicken bleep.
Yeah, but I think everybody understood, at least if you've been following this team, everybody understood how bad this roster was and that Cam Ward wasn't going to come in and all of a sudden this team was going to go from being the worst team in the league to the best team in the league. No, that wasn't going to happen because this roster over the last 3 or 4 years, each and every year, it's been depleted, and the talent hadn't gotten any better. All the while, they're trading away guys, and guys are getting older, and then guys are getting hurt. So, yeah, if you're looking at it for the first time, you look at Cam, and that game last week was sort of a great marriage between, like you said, the tape grinders and the analytics. Those that love to look at
the
numbers.
nerds. Let's be honest.
Yeah, the nerds. Yeah, the nerds. The nerds.
I'm a nerd. It's okay. I can say it.
Hey, listen, ain't nothing wrong with being a nerd. My son's a nerd. He swears he's a cool nerd, but he's a nerd nonetheless. But I think it's a great marriage between the two. But to me, it didn't take this game. And that's just for me. It didn't take this game for me to see that, okay, this kid, if you surround him with more talent, he's going to get better. One thing about talent, no matter, what's around them or what situation you put them in, they will show glimpses. And as the situation around them gets better, they become better. And then ultimately they become the leader. That's what's happening to Cam. I mean, you see bits and pieces. I saw the first game of the season. I saw the fourth game of the season. Now, the first game did look great, but each and every game, you just saw him, at least I did, saw him get better incrementally. It wasn't we're going from A to M. No, it wasn't that. It was, we're going to A and we're itching, but we're not quite off A yet, and we're still working at it. So, and he still has a long way to go. Even with that game he had last week, he still has a long way to go. But I think what that game last week did was sort of open the eyes to the people that hadn't really followed this team. And if you have been following this team and you're just now realizing, then you really hadn't been watching Cam closely. I'm not talking about the team, I'm just talking about the quarterback.
Willie, last week we talked about Bryce Young, and I remember you asking the question, if Cam Ward in his third season is where Bryce Young is now, how will Titans fans feel? And I think we all agreed they'd be incredibly disappointed. And I'm curious, I want to ask the same question about Trevor Lawrence, who will be on the other side this weekend when the Titans host the Jaguars. I looked at Trevor Lawrence's rookie season, and there are some similarities. Trevor Lawrence as a rookie went 3-14. Cam Ward, of course, is 1-10. Trevor Lawrence as a rookie completed 59.6% of his passes. Cam Ward has completed 59.4% of his passes. Trevor Lawrence threw for roughly 3,600 yards. Cam Ward is on pace to throw for roughly 3,400 yards. Lawrence had 12 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, and a rating of 71.9. Cam Ward is on pace for 11 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and a rating currently of 75.7. So I'll ask you that question. Trevor Lawrence is in the midst of his 5th NFL season. He has a couple of 4,000-yard passing seasons on his resume. How would Titans fans feel, you think, of Cam Ward after his rookie season? Let me rephrase that. How do you think Titans fans would feel if Cam Ward turns into Trevor Lawrence 4 to 5 years into his career?
I would say underwhelmed. Not super satisfied. I think the highs have been higher for Lawrence, certainly than Bryce Young. I mean, he's several levels ahead. I mean, they have a playoff win. They've had significant games. I think the frustrating thing about Trevor Lawrence, I think if you're watching him, is he continues to be very mistake prone for a guy that you would have thought would have grown out of it by now. He's a lot more up and down. He's had some injuries that have bugged him. He's had plenty of coaching changes as we've documented, which never helps. You're hoping for more, but that's a really interesting one, right? I mean, Trevor, he's not bad, but he's not.
He was also a much more celebrated number one prospect than Cam Ward as well.
Yes, he was the hands down guy.
Right. 615-737-1025. Hell, why don't you all answer that question? How would you feel if Cam Ward is Trevor Lawrence in year 5? 615-737-1025 as we compare number 1 overall pick quarterbacks. The Tennessee Titans are back on the field on Sunday, taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars, a noon kickoff on CBS. Jacksonville favored by -6.5. 615-737-1025. Since we do not have shows tomorrow or Friday, we are going to take it to the bank coming up next. But speaking of the Titans, if you are looking for a great spot to pregame on Sunday before the Titans-Jaguars game, stop by John Bon Jovi's and pregame with us at 1025. JBJ's has the best food on Broadway, cold beer and cocktails, and stunning skyline views, including 2 epic rooftops. The pregame show is brought to you by Parman Tractor and Equipment and Circus Sportsbook, Kentucky. D. Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 1025 The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. It's not Friday at 5:45. It's Wednesday at 3:45, but we're not going to be on the air Friday at 5:45. So let's take it to the bank now with our friends at F&M Bank. Banking made easy on purpose. Visit one of their locations throughout Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky or online at myfmbank.com. Before we get to our recap and selections, Bruce is on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHunted.com. Bruce, thank you for calling. Go ahead. Bruce, are you there? Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
As I was saying earlier, maybe, Cam played better because his best friend / arch nemesis Shador started last week.
Thank you for the call, Bruce. I appreciate that. We're going to probably get to all of that next week as the Titans prepare to take on the Browns. So that's a next week thing. That's a next week problem. And I can't imagine if Shador Sanders wins his second start and goes 2-0 while Cam Ward is still stuck at 1 win. Oh, man, the text line. I'm getting the shivers just thinking about it. But good call, Bruce. We'll get to that next week when the Titans prepare to take on the Browns. But let's get to take it to the bank. David Janes, let's recap last week.
All right, so first off, for our first general question, it was who is going to win straight up, Florida or Tennessee? And everyone but me picked Tennessee. So obviously, Willie, D. Mason, Adam, you all get points off of that. And then the last one was, will Cam Ward run over under 16.5 yards? Me and D. Mace, we got those points, baby.
Yes.
So D. Mace, you had a perfect week for the general questions. Now,
absolutely, that's what I'm talking about.
We're gonna go to the other your picks, but you went perfect though. You went perfect though in one aspect.
Nowhere to go but down.
Exactly. So Adam, first off with you, we're gonna go to your first question, which was the Titans will be held under 70 rushing yards. That did happen.
Cha-ching.
And then here comes the big one.
Oh, yeah.
Xavier Restrepo. He will play, and he will get a catch. Adam has been talking smack the entire time. Talking about, I better be getting these points, baby. Hey, degree of difficulty. He's been saying this for a while. Degree of difficulty. Those were degrees of difficulty. So, Adam, you got a total of 9 points.
Wow.
For a total of overall 58 points.
Nice.
Hey, Willie, did we just hear open bribery?
Whoa.
We just heard open bribery.
There has been no bribery.
First and foremost, all of y'all
manipulation.
No.
Exactly.
I remember discreetly getting text from Willie, like, oh, look at this, a perfect week, guys. I went perfect for taking to the bank. So let's miss me with that stuff, DMA. So listen here, I'm a clean commissioner. I take bribes though, but I'm a clean commissioner.
Yes, under the table, not over the table.
Exactly. We will not talk about it.
I will gladly take my 9 points.
Exactly. So, Willie, you said Virginia Tech plus 17.5. That did happen. It was close. It was 17.
It was right at 17.
It was right at 17. But so I give you those. And then you said Maryland plus 14.5 against Michigan. Unfortunately, you didn't get those points. That was a 20-point beatdown.
Yes, it was.
But you got 4 total points for a official total of 72 total points.
I'm on my way.
I feel like I got to ramp it back up. I've been treading water the last couple of weeks. Just like I got a lot of 2 and 2s going. I got to pick it up.
Yeah, pick it up, Junior. Come on, man. Now, D-Mace, you got a point off of this. You said Duke would cover 39.5.
They sure did.
Yes.
Again, that was a beatdown. That was
I was even surprised by that.
But then you said the Titans would get 2 or more sacks. They only got 1, buddy. I'm so sorry about that. But you still had a great week. You got a total of 7 total points.
Whoa.
For a total
I'm
of
7 points better than I was last week.
Exactly. That's how I'm looking at it.
There you go.
For a total of 46 points. D-Mace is coming. D-Mace is slowly coming up. We might see some some taking over here soon.
You
Maybe
can see him in the rear view.
exactly.
Okay.
It's still far
I'm
away,
a shadow.
but he's still there.
The objects are closer than they appear.
Exactly. Now let's go to me. I sent this text on Saturday as I was watching the Vanderbilt game. I was like, I said that Vanderbilt would score would combine for 4 rushing touchdowns and for over 200 yards. I really should have said passing touchdown. Because they didn't hit the 200 yards, and but they did get 4 touchdowns, just not rushing. And then I said the Ravens would win by 2 touchdowns. They did. So I got a total of 4 points for 56 total points. Adam, you taking me over.
Oh, nice.
Now
I'm
I'm
coming
upset.
for you,
Now I'm
Willie.
upset.
All right. So
Yep.
I took control of the general questions today since Willie and Derek are out of town. So here's the first one. Vanderbilt at Tennessee, the big one, Saturday afternoon at Neyland Stadium. Over under 65.5 total points in Vanderbilt, Tennessee. Willie, you do the honors first. Over under 65.5 total points in the game between Vanderbilt and Tennessee.
I'm gonna go with what just about everybody has said, including Clark Lee and Trevor Maddich. Everybody we've asked about this game is thinking the same thing. So I am going to say over.
Derek?
Oh man, I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go over.
I will go under. David?
I will go over.
Okay, so 3 overs and an under, 65.5 total points in Vanderbilt versus Tennessee this weekend. On to the Titans. They take on the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday at Nissan Stadium. Cam Ward starting to use his legs. 9 rushing attempts over the past 2 weeks. That's an average of 4.5. Cam Ward over under 5.5 rushing attempts versus Jacksonville. Willie?
Wow. Okay. I'm going to say under. That's a little high. I think that's a great over under. I think it's going to be right around there, but I'm going to go with 5 or less. I'll say under.
Derek, 5.5 over under rushing attempts for Cam Ward.
I'm gonna go under. Yeah, I'm gonna go under. But when we take rushing attempts, he has to pass the line of scrimmage, right?
When you look at
the down as a rushing
when you
attempt.
look at the box score,
yes,
that's all I'm going on. That's all I'm going on.
Sure. Okay,
Yes.
all right. I just want to make sure.
So
okay,
you both are
I'm going
taking the under.
I'm taking the under.
Oh, this is tough. I'm going to take the over on this one, just to be a little bit different. Maybe he continues to pick it up. I will take the over. David?
Oh man, I'm kind of agreeing with you, Adam, but I don't know if I want to fully agree with you. But I'm gonna go over as well.
Okay. So now to the individual portion of the program. I'll go first since I'm staring at my selections. Chim Dike. He's been on a roll. Chim Dike, at least 4 catches and 1 touchdown reception versus Jacksonville. So he has to have 4 catches and 1 touchdown reception to get the points. So Chim Dike, at least 4 catches and 1 touchdown reception versus Jacksonville. Thanksgiving tomorrow. There are 3 football games. I did this last season, I believe, and I will do it again. All home teams will win on Thanksgiving. So I'm taking the Lions over the Packers, the Cowboys over the Chiefs, and the Ravens over the Bengals. So all home teams will win on Thanksgiving. Willie?
All right, I'm going to go with the Lions since I'm here in Detroit. I walked right past Ford Field.
The D, not Big D, the D.
In the D. I will say Lions -3 against the Packers. And I will say Chiefs continue to creep up and find ways to win. I'll take them -3.5 at Dallas.
Derek, your individual selections.
Okay, my individual selection is the AFC North will go 2-2 this week.
Okay. So let me see what those matchups are. You said the NFC North.
Wait a minute.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Wait a minute. I just thought about this. Teammates, they're both playing each other. So
Derek,
sneaky son of a gun.
Derek should be disqualified immediately.
if y'all was gonna let that go through, then hey,
No.
I thought about it for a minute. I was like, wait a
No.
minute.
No, thank you. Pick
You got-
another one.
You got
All
AFC
right.
North fan right here, man.
Okay. All right.
Strike that one from the record, please.
Or the AFC South. I mean, AFC South, AFC North. It don't matter. But they played each other. But I'm taking Vanderbilt will rush over 200 yards
Damn.
against UT. Over
Wow.
200 yards.
Wow.
And Diego Pavia will account for at least three touchdowns.
Derek with much confidence in Vanderbilt. David, your individual selection.
All right, so I'm going off of I'm going to go mainly Vanderbilt today as well. I think the Vanderbilt men's basketball team will make it to the championship round of the Battle of Atlantis, which will be on the 28th.
Okay.
One today, they stumbled down the stretch. They were in
Mhm.
control throughout against Western Kentucky. They kept looking like they were on the verge of a knockout punch, and then Western kept creeping up and got it to within a possession or two possessions very late in the game.
Mm-hmm. And then, so my next one is it's kind of combining of both Tennessee and Vandy. I think it'll be a combine of 2 interceptions
Okay.
on Saturday.
So 2 interceptions between both teams. All right. That'll do it for Take It to the Bank this week. Again, we usually do it on Friday to end the week, but since this is our Friday, since we're not on the air Thursday and Friday, we did it now. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, Chad Withrow from Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow will join us. We'll get his take on Tennessee versus Vanderbilt. He and our friend Jonathan Hutton also had Diego Pavia on their program this week. So we'll get Chad's thoughts on his interview with Diego Pavia. That's coming up next, 615-737-1025. Tomorrow, Thanksgiving, the NFL game of the week is the Chiefs versus the Cowboys at 3:30 right here on 1025 The Game. The NFL game of the week is presented by Circus Sportsbook Kentucky and Massaro in 12 South. D. Mace, Vingan, and Donick, 1025. The Game. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, and David Janes here with you up until 5 o'clock when Predators pregame starts. Predators at Red Wings, a 6 p.m. puck drop in the D, not Big D. Silly underdog picks coming up in 20 minutes. Be listening for your chance to win if you represent the people and win. You will win a pair of tickets for Music City Madness as the Tennessee men's basketball team takes on Illinois at Bridgestone Arena Saturday, December 6th. The Vols, a big win last night against Houston, exacting some revenge after the Elite Eight loss last year. But let's talk about the Tennessee Vanderbilt football game, and there's really no one better to do that with than our friend Chad Withrow from Hot Mic with Hutton and Withrow. And he is brought to you by, if I can find it, a Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa in Cool Springs. Hi, Chad. How are you?
Doing great, guys. Good to be on with you.
So I saw that you and Hutton had Diego Pavia on Hot Mic earlier this week. What was the most fascinating thing you heard from Diego Pavia during your interview?
Well, I did get him on record saying that he will be going to the NFL next year. That was the most fascinating thing because there's a lot of doubt that he's actually going to leave Vanderbilt, and that, you know, part of this lawsuit and everything else is that he's going to try to find a way to get even more eligibility, which, I mean, I'll go ahead and say it. Joey Aguilar joined the lawsuit. That would be awesome for Tennessee. If he was granted another year, it's terrible for college football as a whole. Like the whole thing with Diego Pavia, it's terrible. It's terrible precedent for college football. It was great for Vandy, but I don't think it's good to have, 25, 26, 27-year-olds in the sport that can just stay forever. So hopefully they get some sort of handle on all of that. But, I think it was just I asked him, why are you the Heisman Trophy winner? And he gave his reasoning. And he's getting a lot of hate online for answering the question and telling everyone why he believes he should win the Heisman. And, I don't really get it. I mean, we're in an era of self-promotion, and I know a lot of people still don't like that. But, the guy's got every right to make his sales pitch as to why he should win the Heisman Trophy. But he also gave a ton of credit to his teammates and his offensive line and how improved they are this year. So that was the big takeaway for me, was that he did go on record saying, I am ready for the NFL and I'm going to be in the NFL next year. He even talked about Cam Ward and the Titans and that being a place he'd love to be a backup for at some point. But that he's going pro and that he made his pitch for the Heisman Trophy. And a lot of people, and as you guys know, they're not quick to just tell, hey guys, great take on that online. Usually it's pretty negative, and that's what it's been for Diego this week.
So your battered Vol syndrome did not come into effect last weekend. Tennessee finally vanquishes Florida in the Swamp for the first time in more than 20 years. We've obviously been talking about this game on Saturday from the Vanderbilt perspective, So let me ask you this question, Chad. Fill in the blank here. Tennessee wins if blank.
Well, first off, my battered Vol syndrome didn't even have a chance to peek out on Saturday. I mean, it was 28-0 before you could blink. It was 31-0 at halftime, and Tennessee just sat on the ball the entire second half. And Florida completely conceded at halftime and ran the ball and wanted to get out of there. So that was a wild beatdown of Florida, which 31 points were not enough for me to vanquish all the demons of years past. I wish they would have scored more points in the second half, but beggars can't be choosers. So that was a really good win for Tennessee. I think, guys, from the Tennessee perspective, you look at that and you see a team that after the loss to Oklahoma, it was, oh boy, they're out of the playoff race. Fans are talking like, oh, I don't even care anymore. Who cares about this season if it's not the playoffs? It's playoff or bust. The players are going to feel the same way. They're going to start looking around for other options. And instead, Tennessee handled business against a outmatched New Mexico State team. And they went to Florida and treated it like a business trip. And it's a team that's showing no signs of quit late in the season just because they have 3 losses. So I really think that for Tennessee to win this game, it's all about Joey Aguilar and not forcing it. That Florida game was a great example. Tennessee against Oklahoma got impatient. They had a couple of turnovers, that one right before halftime where Joey's just pressing a little too much and he sails the ball to the safety, and it's a game-changing play. Against Florida, they were content to play 2 high safeties, and Tennessee was content to go over the middle, crossing routes, hit them with some short stuff, run the football, and they killed them with it. It was a death by 1,000 paper cuts but it worked out well. If Vandy comes out with the same game plan that says we're not going to let Brazzell beat us deep, you're going to have to be patient and beat us over the middle. Joey's got to be willing to do that. And if for Tennessee's offense to work, he can't be turning the ball over the way he was the previous few weeks. I think if they do that, Tennessee's going to have a great shot at winning this game, because if you look at the track record between Josh Heupel and Clark Lee, it's not pretty. And I know a lot of those, Vandy was completely outmatched, but a year ago with Diego Pavia, they had barely over 200 yards of offense in that game against Tennessee, and Tennessee had 538 yards with a worse offense led by Nico Iamaleava. So they've had Vandy's number. If that continues, I think it all comes down to the turnover game.
Now, Chad, did anything surprise you with this week's ranking? And also, what did you make of Dan Landing's comments about his team, not playing basically a cupcake, and that they played 9 conference games?
Well, I mean, I'll start with Dan Lanning. His non-conference schedule, I think they won like 128-28 or something against their teams. It wasn't like they scheduled Murderers Row. They played Oregon State, who's no longer in a power conference. They played the worst Oklahoma State team of our lifetime. And they played Montana State in the non-conference. So they played 3 bad non-conference games. I think it's weird only because the SEC is going to 9 games next year. If it wasn't, if it was still in limbo of whether or not they were going to stick at 8 or go to 9, I would get the Big Ten still hammering on the SEC for not playing that extra conference game. But the fact that they're going to that conference game, and oh, by the way, I researched it. All the teams that played a cupcake game this past week in the SEC, all of their strength of schedules is better than Oregon's. And Oregon's isn't bad. They're 24th in the country. But all of those teams that he was poking fun at, even after that cupcake game, still had a tougher schedule than Oregon. Why? Because they play in the SEC. And there's no easy weeks in the SEC, and there are some easy weeks in the Big Ten with some programs that are down. So I thought it was a weird comment from Dan Lanning, and the fact they're going to 9 games, I don't think they really, needed to say anything about that. And what was the first question again? Sorry.
No, just were there any surprises within the college football playoff rankings?
Oh, yeah. So the 6-7 joke was a surprise from Hunter Yurachek. That was odd. Maybe now kids will stop using it after it was so cringeworthy with him saying it. That could be the one positive from all of that. No real surprises. I think it's just from the Vanderbilt perspective, it's just more affirmation that not only do you need to win, you might need to win with some style points, sadly, if you're Vandy, and you're going to have some things happen around you. I think it starts with Miami losing to Pitt. You're going to need that to go down. Auburn beating Alabama would be huge for Vanderbilt. So there's a number of things. Kansas and Utah. Utah did not look great a week ago, but they survived. Can Kansas upset them in Lawrence this week? That would be big for Vanderbilt. But outside of that, no real giant surprises for me. And I'm also not surprised that they're going to just completely ignore head-to-head when it comes to Notre Dame and Miami. That doesn't surprise me one bit. So nothing really surprised me with any of this.
Now, Lane Kiffin, obviously, it's probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest story in college football right now. Obviously, he has to make a decision. But one, do you think he's going to leave, or do you think he's going to stay at Ole Miss? But then two, if he leaves, what do you think that does to Ole Miss in the college football playoff? Do you think that ultimately takes them out if they do lose again, if they do lose their last game in the Egg Bowl, or do you think it'll keep them in regardless?
It's going to make it very interesting between them and Vandy. Let's say if Vandy goes on the road and beats a top 25 Tennessee team, that's going to be far and away their best win of the year, and away from home to do that. So I think Vandy coming in hot and Ole Miss with all the uncertainty, and then if Lane Kiffin leaves and they lose the Egg Bowl, that's going to make an interesting discussion between those two and others with 2 losses, Miami even. So I think it'd make it very interesting. I hope they don't penalize Ole Miss for their coach leaving, because if we're going to be serious about this being about the players and about the team, I hate when a team is penalized for nothing that they did wrong. I mean, it's not their fault that their coach is leaving, for another job. So I hope that won't factor into it, but they've already said that it might. And I don't know what Lane Kiffin's going to do, guys, but the longer this goes, it's a real opportunity. And Lane Kiffin always does the surprising thing throughout his career. it's a real opportunity for him to kind of make the hero turn in the end of all of this and stay at Ole Miss. You know, hey, I really labored over it, and it was a tough decision, and I prayed about it and talked to my family, and at the end of the day, this is the best place in college football, and it's the best place for me, so I'm staying at Ole Miss. I mean, can you imagine the ticker tape parades they're going to be throwing for Lane Kiffin in Oxford if he decides to stay? I feel like the longer it goes, the more that maybe he might decide to stay. But if you're asking me just, gut reaction, what's he going to do right now?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to go to LSU. That's what I think he's being advised to do by his agent. And I think ultimately that's what he's going to do. And maybe he did tell Keith Carter and all the Ole Miss powers that be that, hey, I really haven't made up my mind yet. So let's just readdress it after the Egg Bowl, get through that, and then we can come up with a plan. And here's the other thing, and I threw this out on my show. I wouldn't be shocked if he announces his decision on College Game Day. Jimmy Sexton's his agent. Jimmy Sexton is Nick Saban's agent. Of course, they have their history. They got James Franklin on the show right after he was fired. I would not be shocked if Lane Kiffin makes his announcement and his decision a la LeBron James many years ago, live on television on ESPN on Saturday morning.
Chad Withrow is with us. Chad, back to the Vanderbilt-Tennessee game, just the matchup. Where would you say, on a scale of 1 to 10, Josh Heupel right now is using the tempo meter? I guess, is he going warp speed, or are they still measured on how they're doing it right now? Because I did not get to see their game against Florida.
Yeah, Willie, it's really game to game. They used it really well early against Oklahoma when they were about to build a 2-score lead before they had the fumble that was returned for a touchdown. Florida, they used it really well in the first drive because Florida was giving them the run game and they were taking it. So they were running the ball quickly. But then as the game went on, obviously they slowed it down. And, they held the ball for 8 minutes and 15 seconds to end the game in the swamp. They played as slow as a service academy would play late in that game just to get out of there. So they really they pick and choose where they use it throughout the year. I think they're going to want to play with some fast tempo against Vanderbilt. I think Vanderbilt's style is what's going to frustrate a team like Tennessee because they're going to run the play clock down. They're going to try to dominate time of possession. Tennessee's defense has not been that good this year, although they've really improved the last couple of weeks with their communication. But if they continue to get 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 3 and 3rd and 4, I think Tennessee starts to get frustrated. They get a little antsy. And I think that causes Josh Heupel to pick up the pace a little bit offensively at times. So I think they're going to want to play fast on Saturday, but it's really opponent dependent so far this year as to how fast they're going to play.
I do think tempo is really important because Vanderbilt has shown that they can pick up the tempo, and they've been really effective doing it. But I do think that they will go in at least trying to string it out and do what they've done to a lot of teams and try, like you said, to eat clock, make it a little bit of a lower possession game. But that's something to watch as the game unfolds. Quick switch over to the hoops. In light of the big win last night for Tennessee, what do you think Tennessee's basketball team looks like right now as it's shaping up?
It's very different than a year ago. And I know Rick Barnes said it after the game. Like they had no, this, Willie, they had no post presence a year ago. They had no one that could go back to the basket and throw it down to and get a bucket. Felix Okpara is a shot blocker and a rebounder, a good energy guy. Cade Phillips, the same exact way. But you look up and down that roster, and JP Estrella was hurt last year, and he went out this offseason and he got Jalen Carey. Estrella is going to be a huge difference maker for this team as a 7-footer down low. They've just got so many big guys they can go to in such depth that it really changes the makeup of this team. And I think just the straight 1-to-1 of Houston a year ago and how they were able to bully Tennessee down low on the offensive glass versus Tennessee winning the rebounding battle at this time around and scoring down low the way they did shows how this team has changed. Now, Nate Ament to me is the great X factor because he's such a unicorn of a player. He's a 6'11" shooter who can bring the ball up the court. But the physicality of older teams like Houston, we saw last night, kind of got to him in that game. But, they've got a dominant guard, Jacoby Gillespie, who can score with anybody in the conference. They got a really good and deep front court, and they got a lottery pick as a one-and-done freshman. So, look, I think the sky's the limit for this Tennessee team. They went to the Elite Eight the last 2 years. I wouldn't be shocked if they're the type of team that could do that once again. Here's the thing about the SEC, Willie, and you know this. They got of all the power conference, they have the worst record against Ken Palm top 60 teams right now. So this is not going to be, 14 teams going to the NCAA tournament this year in the SEC. The early schedule's not been kind to this conference. So Tennessee, Vanderbilt, who's looked good early, they're going to need some of those teams to kind of carry the torch for them, because the Kentuckys of the world have fallen flat on their face.
Yeah, good point. It's different than last year. Last one for you. Chad, you've been watching these games for a long time. Would it be fair to say this is the most anticipated Vanderbilt-Tennessee game in I mean, our lifetime? I don't know, 1982? How far back would you go?
This is the most impactful, most important Tennessee Vandy game, certainly in my lifetime. I mean, you probably have to go back before World War II to think about games that were bigger on the national spotlight. I mean, anything with any television presence, like this is the biggest that it's ever been. And I think so much for Vanderbilt. You know, a year ago, Willie, we kind of talked about it going into the game. Like, Tennessee had everything to lose. You know, Vandy had nothing to lose in that game. Diego Pavia was a little banged up going into it, but when Vandy got up 14-0, I thought to myself, Vandy is going to single-handedly ruin Tennessee's season. And not only that, they're going to ruin their offseason, because it's all anyone's going to remember is that all you had to do was go to Nashville and beat Vandy to get to the college football playoff, and you lost. And it was going to put this air of negativity around the program. Tennessee's in that position this year. I mean, you know, make no mistake about it. Like, Vandy's going into this game. I don't know that they're assured a spot in the college football playoff if they win. Stuff has to happen. But to have that truly great year and the greatest season in Vandy history, they got to beat their arch rival in Tennessee on Saturday. So will Tennessee play loose in this game? I don't think Vandy's going to play tight. I don't think that's in Diego Pavia's DNA. But if Vandy wins this game, Willie, I mean, you're a better Vandy historian than me. It's easily the greatest season in program history, right? And if they don't win, it's a really good season, but they finish 9-3 and they lose to all the ranked opponents on their schedule. So it's just a very different tenor, win or lose, for this game for Vandy. And Tennessee wants to win. I mean, this is not a, oh my gosh, you know, it's okay if you lose to Vandy situation. But man, the pressure has flipped from Tennessee to Vandy from season to season. It's been crazy to watch.
Chad Withrow has been our guest on D. Mace, Vingan, and Donick. He joins us usually every Friday, but today he was kind enough to join us on Wednesday. And of course, you can hear him and our friend Jonathan Hutton on Hot Mic with Hutton and Withrow on Outkick. Chad, great stuff as always. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We'll catch up next week.
Hey, if Diego Pavia wins this lawsuit, I think Willie's got a few more three-pointers on him. So I know he's a little bit up there in years, but I think he could come off the bench and launch it from three. So keep in mind, Willie, you could have some eligibility left.
Chad, the way I figure it, the way it's going now, like, I only played 3 years of basketball. So I have at least 2 more years to play. So I'm about to start getting in shape if that lawsuit
Don't
goes.
give him any ideas, please.
Mark Byington is going to call you off the bench, Willie. You're going to have to bury a big clutch three-point shot at some point. So get ready for that, my man.
Chad,
Okay, I can do what they do a lot of times these days. Just put the guy in the corner. We used to not do that. Now you put the shooters in the corner. I'll just stand right there. Somebody get a double team. Leave me. I'm there.
The least amount of cardio possible. That's
Exactly
what you need at this point.
Chad, have a great holiday. We'll catch up next week.
All right, guys. Thanks.
615-737-1025. It is time for Silly Underdog Picks. Hal Gill will join us. Chris Sanders will join us, and we will get our picks for the week coming up next, and be listening for your chance to participate and win a pair of tickets to see the Tennessee men's basketball team take on the Fighting Illini of Illinois at Bridgestone Arena on Saturday, December 6th, which I believe is a week from Saturday. So if you want those tickets, be listening for the cue to call to represent the people. But Silly Underdog Picks is coming up next, 615-737-1025. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service.
All right, let's tell you about F&M Bank, banking made easy on purpose. We made our early picks this week because it's Thanksgiving week. for our Take It to the Bank, which is sponsored by F&M Bank. Go to myfmbank.com. Find out all of the information you need on how to find that nearest location. They've got 20 in our listening area. Even if you head on up to Hopkinsville, Kentucky, they've got one up there. They post up right in the middle of your town. They want to be the great contact that takes that burden financially off of your shoulders. You want to know the person you can deal with that's got the answers, that knows your finances. They've got tools to help you succeed. So myfmbank.com, find that nearest location to you, whether you live in Springfield or Mount Juliet, over in Clarksville, where they got 6 locations. They will hook you up. Banking made easy on purpose. It's F&M Bank. We take it to the bank, usually every Friday. Today, the day before Turkey Day. Member FDIC.
D-Mays, Finnegan, and Donick 1025. The game, we are presented by Bax Homeworks, which transforms kitchens, bathrooms, and living spaces into places you can't wait to come home to. Get a free estimate now at baxhomeworks.com. It is time for Silly Underdog Picks presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. The commissioner is in the D, so we now turn it over to Willie D in Detroit.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Silly Underdog Picks, presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. I love the theme song. And just for the record, up here in Detroit, Max Hurst did play this song at Lindsay Rowley's birthday gathering last night. It went over. It was a big hit for the group. Got a good laugh. So congrats to Max and to spreading the love on the Willie Dynamite song, the theme song of the Silly Underdogs. But I digress. Let's give you the happenings in Week 13 as we move forward. We welcome Hal Gill, who's over in the radio booth. Let's check in with Hal. He's about 4 feet from me in a different booth. Hal, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm right here with you, Willie. It's nice to actually see you while we're doing this.
I know. We're making eye
amazing.
contact for the first time on the season.
And I even hear the FanDuel Sports Network music in the background.
Oh, wonderful.
It's setting things up brilliantly.
And where is Chris Sanders? Is he present as well?
Really? Can you hear me?
Oh my goodness.
Yes, I hear
Nobody
you.
can hear you.
I'm in the state where you
you
picked.
sound like you're in a phone booth.
Well, you'll be
'Cause I
happy to.
am.
I'm in the. Yeah, D-Mace does sound
You sound
differently
like you're in a
today. He's
phone
on the Zoom.
booth.
So we're coming at you from all across the country. I'm in the
Oh my
state
gosh.
where you picked against your alma mater,
Oh
the
my
Michigan
gosh.
Wolverines. You picked them last year, and so I'm just reminding you that you did that, just so the panel can take shots at you.
You can't tell them, man. You can't tell the people that.
Yes, I think they remember, but we were on a different time last year, so just introducing to the the afternoon drive audience, so to speak, just the crime that you had against your beloved Buckeyes.
It's all good. We're gonna smash him this time, so I ain't doing it this time. Absolutely
Okay,
not.
so all right, he's going on the record. He's not going to pick Michigan this year for a second straight year. All right, let's go to the results from last week. It was sort of uneventful. Derek Mason, the leader in the competition, started things off by taking USC, a 9.5-point dog at Oregon, sort of a last-ditch effort for the Trojans, trying to spoil Oregon season and get into the playoff picture. Didn't happen. The Ducks cruised. 42-27 was the final. So, D-Mace, no points for you.
Well, it's always next week, which is this week, which means I'm going to win. Don't worry about it.
All right. D-Mace still has the lead in the competition.
I'm keeping it measured.
Now, Hal Gill had the 2 previous weeks absolute, just gut-wrenching losses on last play of the game field goals that won the game for the opposition. Last week, Hal went with Missouri, a 7.5-point dog at Oklahoma, and the Sooners just stifled Missouri all day long, held them to 6 points. Missouri just could not get anything done, especially once they got towards the red zone. Oklahoma really cracked down. So Oklahoma won it 17-6. Oklahoma very much in the playoff picture. Hal stays at 25 points and in third place. Hal, your reaction from the radio booth?
Yeah, do I have to? Well, you know what? Maybe too soon as we're about to watch the Preds, but sometimes it's easier just – I didn't have the heartbreak. It was over before it even started, really. So I didn't have that pain and anguish. But I don't know if I should be saying that up here in the booth as I'm about to watch the Preds play.
I wish I had an answer. I think we've talked at length.
Yeah, they absolutely just did not have any feel that they were going to win that game. Adam selected Temple, a 7.5-point dog at Tulane, trying to hope that the pressure on the green wave of trying to get into that playoff mix was too much for them. It wasn't. Tulane went up to Philadelphia and crushed the Owls 37-13. So no dice, Adam.
The less said, the better.
Okay, I see you. And Chris had Ball State, a 27.5-point dog at Toledo.
Oh, my gosh.
Ball State, not so much. Toledo wins at 38-9 in victory.
It was over the first 13 seconds, man. It was done completely. So I'll be all right.
Not so much. Chris still within range. The standings after 13 weeks. D-Mace with 38. Adam, 28.5, 10 points back. Hal with 25, still in striking distance. And Chris at 21.5.
Let's go.
17 points back. Here's the order. Hal Gill, Adam Bingen, Chris Sanders, D-Mace. So let's start it off with Skillsy from here in Detroit.
They're playing my song, my Boston song, while we're in Detroit Rock City. Rivalry week, hate week, and I'm pretty excited about it. I had a lot of locks, but I need points, so I'm going to go out a little bit. And for 13.5 points, I just can't see Georgia going into Georgia Tech and winning that one. I think Georgia Tech's going to stomp them. It's going to be fun, too. I'm going to enjoy watching down Georgia and give me 13.5 points.
Ooh.
Now that would shake up the college world a little bit, especially from Georgia Tech's angle. Georgia Tech, I'm going to give you 14, Hal, officially on
14
the CBS
points,
Sports.
even better.
Oh.
Georgia Tech, 14-point dog, playing at home. Well, actually, the game is played on a neutral site, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. So Georgia Tech and 14. Very interesting. That means it's time to move on to Adam Vingan, currently in second place.
All right. It is Thanksgiving week. So let's go to the heartland of America, the breadbasket of America. Let's go to the Big Ten, the beloved conference of Chris Sanders and Derek Mason. I will take the Nebraska Cornhuskers at home over Iowa. Last I checked, Willie, Nebraska a 6.5-point dog at home against the Hawkeyes.
Adam, I regret to inform you, it is currently 6. Nebraska,
I will take
6-point
6.
dog. Okay.
Man,
6-point
I
dog
wanted that game.
as they take on Iowa, who I know D-Mace is not a fan of Iowa. They just knocked off Michigan State last week. All right, that brings us to Chris Sanders.
Let's go.
He's already the drama is not there anymore because he's already said he's not going to take Michigan.
Do you believe Chris Sanders though?
No, I don't believe.
I do. He's an honest man. Chris Sanders would not lie about something as important as that.
We'll see in just a moment.
Exactly.
Michigan, is it me you're looking for?
Man, just pick your damn song, man. Just pick your team, man. Come on.
I know I am. I'm going to give you a little intro, man. Here we go.
I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you.
Yeah, I know, brother. You're my brother. Hey, here we go. No, I can't do it. I'm going with West Virginia over Texas Tech, 27. Oh, wait. What? Are y'all serious?
Are you serious is the better question.
Hey,
you wanted to pick the Ohio State game. You should have just picked the Ohio State game.
But I need points, man. I need points bad. I mean, I think Ohio State's going to smash Michigan. Yeah.
In theory, this could put you in the lead. West Virginia, who comes in at 4-7, is a 23.5-point dog against number 5 Texas Tech at 10-1. Now that would be an enormous upset, and that would throw a little monkey wrench into the Big 12's plans. It also would help Vanderbilt, I would think. So I also have come up with this idea with the Lionel Richie. Hello, is it me you're looking for? I feel like we should have whoever finishes in 4th place has to karaoke that song in week 1 of next year.
No, D-Mace sounds like Billy Ocean, so he can't.
Oh my goodness!
I think D-Mace would do a great job singing that song.
Absolutely,
get belted out.
You gotta have a high voice. His voice too deep. Low, is it me you're looking?
You can go down an octave if you need to. You got to, you make it work. We'll work on that. We'll get the rules in the summer to work on that one. In the meantime, let's go to D-Mace, the leader in the competition after 13 weeks.
All right, let me see. My first pick was taken by Adam, Nebraska and Iowa. Hal's pick was a good one. I like that one. I don't know what the hell Chris picked.
You can say that almost every week.
He's usually got a separate list.
He has a separate list from us. But no, I'm going this week with the Jayhawks of Kansas versus the Utes of Utah.
Ooh. Now
11.5, Willie. 11
now
and a
we're
half.
talking. That would be right up the Commodore's alley in the perfect weekend quest. Kansas is an 11.5-point home dog against 9-2 Utah, who is 1 slot ahead of Vanderbilt in the rankings. Last I checked, so 1 or 2. It's they're right there. Vanderbilt could use a loss from Utah, among others. But the Jayhawks coming in at 5-6, trying to get bowl eligible and pull the upset against Utah. All right, the picks are in, people, for Turkey Week. It's rivalry week. Silly underdog picks presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. Let's go to what the insiders have chosen this week. Hal Gill from up here in the Motor City selects Georgia Tech. He's going down to Hotlanta. The Yellow Jackets are a 14-point dog against Georgia, playing at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Adam Vingan, 10 points back of the leader, goes into the Big Ten and selects Nebraska, a 6-point home dog as they take on the Iowa Hawkeyes. Then Chris Sanders. He hemmed and hawed. He's doing a second straight year. He needs big points. He's down right now by 17. This potentially could put him into the lead as he tries to go for another title. West Virginia, a 20.5-point dog at home against number 5 Texas Tech. And then finally, Derek Mason, staying in the Big 12, going with Kansas, an 11.5-point dog, playing at home, trying to get to 6 wins as they take on number 13 Utah, who is 9-2. Those are the picks for Week 14. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving, and gentlemen, good luck.
Hey guys, happy Thanksgiving. But I hope one of your turkeys is missing a leg, okay? And I hope that y'all lose y'all games, all of y'all.
That's just mean.
I just want to say, I am thankful for all of you, especially Chris Sanders.
Hey, thanks, buddy. Hey,
It's all love,
Thanksgiving to
Chris.
y'all, man. Oh man, seriously, I'm
We
thankful
love
for
you.
guys.
We
too,
love
man.
you.
Love y'all too, man.
All right. Good luck to everybody. The picks are in. It's time for you to make your pick. 615-737-1025. The first caller will represent the people. And if you pick correctly, you will win a pair of tickets to Music City Madness, Saturday, December 6th. The Tennessee Vols basketball team takes on Illinois at Bridgestone Arena. So if you want a pair of tickets to see the Vols take on the Illini on Saturday, December 6th, 615-737-1025. First caller, 615-737-1025. We will wrap up the show coming up next. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. D-Mace, Vingan, and Donick 102.5 The Game. We just completed silly underdog picks ourselves. Now we need a representative from the people. And that is David on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. David, thank you for calling. Welcome to the competition. Your selection, please.
I'm going to go with LSU over Oklahoma.
Okay, David, good luck. LSU over Oklahoma. What do you think about that pick, Derek?
That's a good pick. I had that in my Rolodex of picks just in case.
I do like that
but
I
yeah,
took your
that's
pick.
a good pick.
I do like that I
Yeah,
took your
that
pick.
was your pick. I thought of Hal's was my second pick.
Mm-hmm.
Your pick was my first pick. I'm looking at it like, I hope he don't pick it. I hope he don't pick it. Like, he picked it.
So Oklahoma,
Yeah,
LSU is a 10-point underdog on the road at Oklahoma. So a big spread, but David going for broke here. And if David wins, he will win a pair of tickets to see the Music City Madness game between the Tennessee Volunteers men's basketball team and the Illinois Fighting Illini at Bridgestone Arena on Saturday, December 26th. So good luck to you, David. We'll see if you can win those tickets to the basketball game between the Vols and the Illini. Derek, we've been talking so much this week about Tennessee versus Vanderbilt coming up this weekend, a 2:30 kickoff on Saturday at Neyland Stadium. I'm going to put you on the spot. I want your prediction. I want a score prediction and why. Go.
I think the score will be in the 30s, obviously, because I picked the over. But I think Vandy wins 41-37.
30.
I think Vandy.
Did you say 41?
41-37.
Okay.
37, yes.
Wow.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but I think Vandy's going to get one or two stops. They're going to be key stops toward the end of the game. I think that's why I think their defense is a little bit better than what Tennessee has shown. I think Vandy's defense has gotten better over the weeks. Now, granted, they hadn't played against a high-powered offense like UT, but I think they did a good job in that second half or toward the end of the game against Texas. And obviously, we saw what they did last week against Kentucky. So I think their defense is primed and ready, and I think they're going to get two stops. It's just hard to stop teams in college football nowadays, regardless if you have what we would deem a really good defense or not, because this league is built on passing and scoring points, and it's just hard to stop an offense. That's why I said it's going to be one or two stops that Vandy's going to get, either in the fourth quarter or in that right after the ball's kicked off, right after halftime. If they can get a stop early on in the game with that, then I think they're going to win the game. I don't think either team is going to consistently stop one another, but I think Vandy's got to get that one or two more stops that's going to allow them to win the game.
Now, earlier this week, we were all accused on the text line of being Vanderbilt homers. Now, Willie has an excuse. He went to Vanderbilt, so he can be a Vanderbilt homer. I really don't have a dog in this fight. I do not cheer for either team, but it's hard not to, unless you have allegiances, deep-rooted allegiances to Tennessee. I think it's hard not to fall in love with this Vanderbilt team. Diego Pavia, he's not for everyone, but I like the guy. Kid's got spunk, and he talks a big game, and most of the time, he backs it up. So, incredibly confident young man. I've loved watching him play. I've loved how he's been able to help transform the Vanderbilt football program. Of course, we talk to Clark Lee every week during football season. He's a good man as well. He took a program that was left for dead by a lot of people. I remember when the SEC expanded, people were like, now that Texas and Oklahoma are coming in, shouldn't Vanderbilt just leave? They have no chance to compete. So there's a lot to love about this Vanderbilt program. I don't have a great read on this game. I really could see either team winning it. And it's tough. If my gut tells me that Tennessee squeaks one out, that's where my gut is right now. I think it's going to be an incredibly competitive game, but my gut tells me that Tennessee squeaks one out the Commodores finish the season at 9-3. They'll go to a bowl game. It'll be disappointing after such a magical season, but I wouldn't be surprised if Vanderbilt pulls off the win. It would be technically be an upset based on the spread. But yeah,
but Vegas is but they're telling you right now that it's going to be a close game. So it's going to take a swing stop one way or the other that is going to flip the game. I would be completely surprised if either one of these teams just run away with it. Now, obviously, I would, I'm partial to Vanderbilt. Not that I dislike UT, but I'm partial to Vanderbilt, and I wouldn't mind if they got up big early on. But I would be really surprised if Vandy or UT got up like big early on, and then the other team had to come out with that fight. I think it's going to be a back and forth for pretty much the whole game.
We'll see what happens at 2:30 on Saturday at Neyland Stadium, Vanderbilt at Tennessee. A lot riding on this game for the Commodores. But here's something we can all agree with, whether you're a fan of Tennessee or a fan of Vanderbilt. So I've got Apple News, and I search Vanderbilt football a lot as we research the show. So a lot of Vanderbilt football content gets thrown in my face. And I saw this headline from Us Weekly. Why Vanderbilt quarterback Diego Pavia's mom, Antoinette Padilla, is the subject of college football controversy. What controversy? We all love Diego Pavia's mom. And I guess this story stems from Joey Galloway has a podcast.
Yes, I saw it.
He has a podcast with Kirk Herbstreit. And he said, quote, "Is there a camera on Pavia's mother the entire game? I'm just wondering, just a question, not saying it gets on my nerves, just asking a question. Can you put in a request? Not every play. I love the story. I love the family. Not every play." And I know that there are people listening right now that absolutely agree with Joey Galloway. I am not one of those people. Diego Pavia's mom, split screen, picture in picture, every single second of the game.
With Theo Vaughn.
I just want Diego Pavia's mom.
But it's a good story. I mean, and it's college football. And what better place to have a good story than college football? Especially where Vanderbilt has been and what Diego has been able to do, along with the other players, and obviously Coach Clark Lee. But what they've been able to do is just remarkable over the last season and a half, considering where Vandy has been. So it's a feel-good story. And if they want to show his mom 100 times, it's college football. Have at it, because you don't get too many of those stories. So when you get them, just celebrate them and have fun with it.
I'm talking about ESPN has so many different channels, right? I would just watch the channel of the game with a little box up in the corner, just an ISO cam on Diego Pavia's mom. As far as I'm concerned, that's fine. So
man,
Joey,
you're gonna be on the couch again. You're gonna be on the couch, man.
Yes. Bridget, please don't be listening to this final part.
Exactly.
Yes. Look, as I said,
so close to Thanksgiving.
Yes, I would prefer not to sleep on the couch the night before Thanksgiving, but she was there. She was there when we were at Party Foul several weeks ago, and I had to explain to her my fascination with Diego Pavia's mom. Skylar on her text line says, Pavia's mom is fine as hell. Show her split screen with the game. That's what I'm saying. There's no controversy as far as I'm concerned. It's a part of the story. Diego Pavia, he told Chad Withrow and Jonathan Hutton he's not going to come back for like an 18th year of college. He's going to attempt to go to the NFL. I'm curious what his NFL prospects are, whether he gets drafted, whether he's an undrafted free agent. That's a conversation for another time. But we're all rooting for Diego Pavia here. That I do know. The Tennessee Titans play the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday at Nissan Stadium. We'll see if Cam Ward can build off of his solid performance last week against the Seattle Seahawks. The Nashville Predators, of course, pregame coverage is coming up in just a matter of minutes. Chase McCabe will have pregame for you. The Predators play 3 more games before we're back on the air on Monday, tonight in Detroit, Friday in Chicago, Saturday at home against Winnipeg. The Predators have lost 11 of their past 13 games, so they certainly need a win. We heard from Barry Trotz yesterday. There's a limited amount of time he really has to make a determination on what he wants to do with this team. We'll see how they respond starting tonight in Detroit. But Derek, any final thoughts on the Titans matchup against the Jaguars on Sunday?
I mean, this is an opportunity, I think, for them to start stacking, development on top of development, games on top of games. It doesn't necessarily have to equate to a win. And I know many Titan fans don't want to win because they want the number one pick, but they just have to build on games that they've been successful at. They were successful last week, even though they didn't get the win. The success came with the development that we saw of the young players. I think they need to have another game like that, regardless of the outcome. I think they need to have a positive game. But again, you don't know which. The crazy part about it is you don't know which Jacksonville Jaguar team you're going to get. You may end up getting the Trevor Lawrence that throw for 296 yards or 256 yards for 3 touchdowns, but also may get a Trevor Lawrence that throws the same amount but throwing 3 interceptions as well. So for me, it's just hopefully the Titans can come out and build on what they did last week. If it equates to a win, then great. If not, then at least you can look at it and say they're getting better. They're developing the young guys each and every week.
Look, I know it's Jags week. We have a shortened week here, but we've got to do it, David.
Duval.
Oh, I asked for it. We'll see Liam Cohen for the first time this season on Sunday at Nissan Stadium when his Jaguars take on the Titans. We will be back Monday at 3:00 live from the Mint Gaming Hall in Franklin, Kentucky. We will react to the Titans game against the Jaguars. Of course, we will react to the Commodores game against the Volunteers and much more. Anything noteworthy that happens over the next few days, we will certainly talk about it Monday at 3:00. Not to steal Derek Mason's thunder here, but I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving. We are thankful for all of you for listening to our show, to our station. We appreciate your participation. We really, really do. So I hope all of you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Spend some time with your family, enjoy them, and we will talk to you Monday at 3:00.
Be loved, love on your people. Have a safe and blessed and wonderful day, as well as happy Thanksgiving. I love you. The team loves you. You hear this song. Don't you forget about it, because we won't forget about you. We'll be back Monday. Taking a couple of days off. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Be back Monday, 3 p.m. See you, 102.5 The Game. Peace.